United Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Welcome, one and everyone. We finally got started today. Damn, that was late. Apologies for that. No Michael today. As you can see, it is myself. But before I do anything, talk about anything, let me just say big ups to everyone who's here. See 8 of y'all in the chat. We got 13 likes. Please do hit a like as you come into the show if you can. Also, please do take part in the poll. We love your input. Well, me specifically. I try to have fun with those little polls there, but hope you're all doing well. Happy Friday. It is officially the weekend. So let me bring in, when I think about the weekend, I think about this man right here. This one and only, the Kuva. How are you doing, sir? When I think about the weekend, I think about you. And
yeah, you were playing with your little poles. I was playing with my own little pole too. So
maybe that's what took us so long.
Yeah, that's it.
Big ups to everybody. Hope you're all doing well. We got City on Sunday. Some people looking forward to it, some people not so much. Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat. Apologies, Ben Kaufman checking in first. He gets the first place prize this week. I'm gonna start giving out first place prizes, Kuva, and whoever tunes in. And usually Bobby K is pretty quick. If you say anything in the group chats, he'll usually get on it pretty quick and hit a comment. So Ben Kaufman, you win the inaugural first award, or should I call it the? Who knows? I'll come up with some kind of catchy, something catchy. Big up Todd Spurs. Big up to all. I see we were having a little conversation, and then I chimed in, letting everyone know I was late. Adrian, how are you doing? Big up Adrian. First Spurs player I ever met was Ozzy Ardiles in 1979. What a guy. I love Ozzy. In a local hotel my mom worked in, age 13. Second was Glenn Hoddle. Then the rest of the team. How I love Spurs back then, 1979. Wow. That's quite the first two Tottenham Hotspur players.
I do love how you said Ozzy Ardiles.
Is that correct?
No. Ardiles.
Ardiles.
Yeah, he's South American.
He's Argentinian, right?
Yeah.
He was part of that little. I watched some documentary or some little thing that they did on. I think it was Spurs Play or maybe ESPN Plus. I don't remember where I saw it, but that shows you how good I am with Kuva. I'm known for
before your time, mate.
I'm known for pronouncing things all kinds of ways. You know, big up Alan Bennett in the house. Jaco. There we go. As the first official patron of the channel, I see checking in Jaco, the one and only. The founders of this channel go as such. Alan Sibley, 10-inch, big up yourself. He is the founder of it all. And then we got Goguma, Leo Coys, and C. Sherman, part of the 10-inch club. Official supporters, we have Scott M, James George, Jaco, David, Jamie, and Jack Kanicki. Big up all of you official supporters. And in the Lover's Lane, we got Bobby K, Gina Kim, Tom Markin, and Colin, and C Cubed. Big up yourself, every single one of you. If you just heard your name, you will be scrolling down below the entirety of the show, just because I love you that much and I want to see your name every so often. If you do want to become a patron of the channel, feel free to click the link. I believe I have it pinned. I do at the top of the chat. You can click on the link. There's some, there's $1, there's some is $5, $10, whatever you want to contribute, but also it's free 99, cost you nothing other than a finger click, a little wiggle of the finger, if you will.
Yeah, that's the way to
hit that like. Yeah, there you go. Just do that 3 times, I hear you, and you get Brian Diggle to pop up.
That's right.
Big up Mark Cousins. Big up. I think I saw you earlier on Sava's show. Big up Mark. Paul Beatty, big friend of the channel. Big up yourself, Paul. Ben Kaufman, you are in first place. Evening Aaron Dubb. Keep smiling. Massive weekend started off good. Cottager stunned the Chavs. Don't know what that means.
It means Fulham beat Chelsea to that. I could have sworn I saw Chelsea were 2-0 up.
It was 0-0. I watched the second half of that game. It was 0-0.
What did I see then? Oh, I must have been looking at another foreign game or something. Yeah, 0-0 though at Chelsea. Good result for Fulham.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a really good result for Fulham. Real quick, we also got David Clark in the house. Resident of Juarez Heights, can't pronounce Ardilies. I'm gonna let that one rest for a second. Ardiles. I'm gonna work on it. David Clark, big up from sunny. I usually say sunny Leicester. Maybe it's not sunny today. This Saturday will be the first time this season not starting with 10 men. Coys 2-1. That's a quick. You're already with the prediction, Alan. Big up yourself, Jamie. An official supporter as well of the channel. Big up yourself, Jacob Kuva. Chat, you got it right. We also have another guest I'm about to welcome on at any moment, really. Patty Hartnett, big ups. RD Les. All right, I've got it. Now that I've got that, let me bring on our third guest. I mean, I'm not really a guest, so I guess he wouldn't be the third guest. We got Sean from Spurs Talk Show. How are you doing? Can you give me an RD Les?
RD Les.
Okay, thank you. How you doing?
How are you?
Good.
You good?
Have you recovered from your show earlier? Because when I hopped on earlier, it was absolutely crazy time.
No, I haven't recovered. I started to watch through it because I realized that when you do something live, and it's like 4.5 hours, nobody after the fact is ever going to like watch it because they're going to go, well, where do I go to find the good bits? Like, and unless you take note of like as you're going through, at 67 minutes in, there's a good argument between Danny and Mia, or like at 2 hours and 45 minutes, Sean loses his mind about something that's Nick said. Unless you write that down and then you categorize it with chapters, then like it's a wash, right? It's an absolute wash. When you do these 5-hour shows, I know that I look at the analytics, nobody ever watches them back because everyone's like, well, where do I go? So I then went and like started slicing it up. Like, oh, this is the answer to Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust question 1. Let me slice that one up. And I was going to upload it, and then I was like, there was like, no. Like, I think sometimes you have to shake hands with yourself and go, today was one of those shit shows. And it should just sit there and no one's ever going to see it again and just leave it as it is. So,
but
I haven't recovered.
Live experience only sort of show.
Yeah, so exactly.
If you're there,
one time only thing.
You got to experience it all. I got to experience some of it. I didn't see. You started at like 5 a.m. my time. So it was quite early for me. I didn't see the beginning. I only saw the tail end of it, and it was quite entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, I was making pancakes listening to y'all. It was a good time. So,
I at least tried to learn the lesson of like letting other people speak. So I had a note in front of me saying, "Let other people speak. Stop interrupting people." Because I watched back the show before, and it was like, "No!" And people would come in and say something. I'd be like, and I'd interrupt them after like 7 seconds, and eventually I got to the point where I was clipping through, like on a 5-hour stream, I was just like clicking random bits and hoping that I'd find one of them that didn't have me talking.
That's hilarious.
And it was rare that I found it. So today I was better, but it's a learning curve, you know.
It's all fun. I had a good time tuning in. So
we'll do this anyway. We just love talking on camera anyway, don't we?
Yeah, I know. Egos and passion.
Yeah, of course it is. A little bit.
Well,
I kind of want to start with.
Where are we going tonight, guys? What's the? Sorry.
That's the thing is, I made this a preview show. I have a few talking points that I want to talk about, but then also there's obviously, I mean, the supporters trust thing, which I feel like has been pretty exhausted at this point. It's been more than 24 hours, right, since that thanks came out. Everyone's kind of had their say on it. You know, to me, it just sounded bureaucratic. I don't know if y'all want to touch on that before we really preview City, because that's kind of the main direction I wanted to go. And then also Harry Kane, he's looking over the edge of his record. Well, not his record. I mean, for Tottenham. So I feel like there's a lot of things to be excited about, but we could also talk about the whole, like, you know, the great cloud that's always hanging over Tottenham.
Why don't we do like 10 minutes? Because you know what? Like, I don't even know Kuva. I know you came on, you were hanging around for like 40 minutes, but you probably only got about 7 seconds before somebody was.
It was just madness. Point,
right? I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know your thoughts, Jacob, on generally what the supporters trust message was. Did you think that the supporters trust fucked up a little bit? Excuse me, if I've spot. Oh no, we're outside the 10 minutes. We're okay. But did you think that they? Like, I thought the tone that they asked the questions in was aggressive. And if you ask an aggressive question, sometimes you get an aggressive answer. I thought the whole thing felt quite abrasive from both parties. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to go first on that. Only takes a few minutes from my point of view. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I agree. The tone seemed to be that sort of defensive. They feel the wrath of the fans on them, kind of thing. Especially, I think they weren't expecting it from Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, because usually they're very much toe the line, don't kick up a fuss, and their focus tends to be on other things, like getting some help for like disabled fans on some access problems, and behind the scenes work that doesn't seem important to a lot of people, but obviously is important within the crowd that need it. I think the overall feeling on it for me was disappointment. There was a lot of questions asked that we thought perhaps we'll finally get an answer to it, and it just wasn't there. It was more sort of corporate wash, the sort of political sort of answers.
That was kind of always going to be the case, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you ask questions that are very, first of all, I thought aggressive personally. Secondly, I don't know why they had to like. Hi, mate. But I don't know why they had to like cement them into 4 questions. I don't know why nobody advised them.
Did like the passive aggressive email shit of like answered above. My last answer, that type of shit.
But if you take before you get to the answers, if you think about the questions, why did it have to be 4? Why couldn't it have been 10 or 7 or 11? Like, why was it 4? And also, when you ask for like several answers in one question, I think that no one's ever going to like give specific answers to any particular part of it. It's like standard. If you ask too many questions,
hang on a minute, that's your speciality.
100%, 100% it is. 100% it is. This is what I do, right? And then I fuck up, and then you guys, like, I'll ask 20 questions, give you the chance, and I just overtalk you anyway. So, but like, but when they say things like. When they ask questions like about the specificities of Conte's contract or about the naming rights deal, surely somebody at the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust is smart enough to know that they're never going to be able to answer that. And when you package that around 3 other questions that could have been answered, then Tottenham can just like dismiss all of it by giving like, with confidentiality and sensitivity, we can't disclose that stuff. And I just think that whoever's in charge of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, me personally, I think they fucked up. I think Tottenham Hotspur did everything they had to do, but nothing more than that. And I think the Supporters Trust should be ashamed of themselves, if I'm entirely honest.
Because of the questions?
I think I would have loved to have heard a question along the lines of, is there a roadmap for success for the club? As in, do you have time scales on when you intend to achieve something like winning the first trophy, or whether that's going to be a domestic cup, or are we going for the league? And, is it within 5 years, 10 years, anything like that? Just there's some definitive sort of plan there for the fans to it, so you can hold them accountable to it. And I think the closest we got was just that one line saying the manager Antonio Conte is committed to achieving top honours at the club, as is everybody else, every other single person at the club. And I thought that's one of the few times where I can say they actually have now said they are aiming to win trophies rather than just to be competitive. So now, if in a way, I liked it because they've given themselves a yardstick to be beaten with. Now there is a bar set.
I still don't see that either. Personally, for me, the only takeaways that I got from them were that they are saying, hi Alex, by the way, mate, how you doing? I think that the
welcome Alex. I do want to say real quick, welcome Alex. This is a debut on United Spurs America,
nice,
so big up Alex. Thank you. You were muted if you were trying to say anything, by the way. But big up, thank you for.
He's gonna have to, I know he's going to come in and drop some truth bombs and some Alex-shaped Yeah,
I enjoy Alex shaped cookies that he serves up.
Cookies. Yeah.
He serves them up real nice. Go ahead. No, you were talking.
Before I let him go, before I leash him out, like what I want to say is my personal takeaway from it was that first of all, I think the Tottenham Hotspur do not believe that they have failed like some elements of the Tottenham fans do. Right? They spent a lot of time trying to remind everybody of the relative successes. Now, I personally am someone that shares their thoughts on that, but I know other people don't. But I think I definitely feel that. But I also think that the major takeaway is that if you want Tottenham to act like Chelsea or, Liverpool in the past or Manchester United currently, whatever, but essentially Chelsea, if you think that there's any hope of Tottenham living beyond their means whilst we have these ownership, forget it. Right? And so on that basis, they mentioned sustainability like 8 times. I think that word came out in various formats. And so, like, if you want Tottenham to do as best you can under this ownership, then you have to get on board with the idea of random revenue streams. Whilst you might resent these owners, if you still want Tottenham to succeed whilst these owners are around, you should get very comfortable with hearing things like Beyonce concerts or like Visit South Africa shirt deals, because they've said quite explicitly that they want to live within their means and that they're going to try and do everything they can to find as many diverse different systems and styles of revenue stream generation as they possibly can. So if you're someone that resents that stuff or is going to use that as a stick to hit Levy with, then get used to it, because you're going to get so many sticks that are on the floor, because there's going to be more and more and more of those. And for me personally, I don't think that's a problem. I'm okay with it, but you should get comfortable with it, because they're clearly not going to go and drop 400 million quid of anybody's money or credit or loans or any of that stuff, or they're never going to come close to FFP. They're never going to try and bridge any potential hazards in that regard. They are going to do everything they can to find every little ounce of revenue, every dollar. If there's a £5 note on the floor, you better believe Tottenham Hotspur are going to find a way to pick it up, because that's the way that they see the pathway to us competing. And so I think you're going to see so many more versions of South African, whoever sponsors here. There'll be something on the socks next. There'll be something on the boots. There'll be like the grass will be painted with like, I don't know, Coca-Cola paint in the bottom left-hand corner. Like there'll be all that, as much as you possibly can think of. That's their plan. And I think that's the way that you have to get on board it, or don't like it or not. But that's how Tottenham are going to try and compete.
Does the Premier League have any kind of rules in place that because I mean, if you look at like Liga MX over here, I mean, I could throw a damn football and I could hit the stadium over here for Juarez FC. Would shout out Juarez FC. They got a nice little logo, but it's just, you look at their shirts. I'm like, I don't know where the damn logo. I don't know I don't know what I'm looking at, because it's just like. Telcel, Coca-Cola, Cafe, Home Depot,
like a Formula One racing car. Like every little inch is taken up by something. Okay.
Everything, and then players are now getting tattoos of brands on them. To
really,
yes. So it's gotten out of control.
I think if there's no laws that prevent that, that's what I'm expecting Tottenham to do. Like when they're thinking outside the box, they're thinking, how do we raise enough money to be able to compete without ever having to put our finger in our own pockets? And I think that's just the get on board it, like it or lump it, until these guys move on.
This is as much as if it gets any more than this. If I start, I mean, I know they got the Premier League badge, but like they're gonna start putting stuff under it or on top of it, and I think that that's a level that I would like to just not. I don't want to see in the Premier League personally. Alex, I haven't heard your voice at all since you've joined the stream.
He's on mute.
You're also on mute, by the way.
You know what? Yeah, it is the debut of somebody, but it's not Alex anymore. Alex is gone. Like I said, Alex is gone. He's finished. He's out the door. You know what it is. You know what time it is.
Who is it?
Box office.
It's
Mr. Box Office. Mr. Box Office, the main event, the professor of entertainment and making truth, and that's it. And that's all they need. That's all it is. You know what I mean? The waffle I had to
hear that John Cena walkout music right now. You know what I mean?
On Sean's mouth on your show was absolute waffle, saying about how many teams fell every single season.
What happened,
this was your words. teams fail every season because they don't win trophies. Yeah, right.
Wait.
As
Sorry.
far as
Start again. I was changing.
What's the statement that you said about the teams that don't win trophies and 60% fail or something like that? What was your quote? What was your quote?
My quote was that it was in relation to the idea that if you don't win a trophy in a particular season, then some people think that whoever doesn't win a trophy in that particular season has failed, right? And this is this conversation goes way back. Kuba will remember it, right? But I went and did some research, and Manchester United are the team in the Premier League or in England that have had the most amount of success in the most amount of years that they have been in existence. They haven't got the most amount of trophies. They're just behind Liverpool, but in essence, Liverpool have won, maybe on a few more years, they've won 2 or 3 trophies, right? But in terms of like 8 in any particular season, since Manchester United have become a professional team, in 61% of the seasons that they participated in professional football, they haven't won a trophy. And so by the rationale that if you don't win a trophy in any particular year, you have failed, then the most successful football club that has ever played football fails or has failed 61% or 62%. I'm not sure what I forget. I think it's 62% of the time. So I'm saying my point is that, like, I think that to call Manchester United a team that fails the majority of the time, I think is silly. And I would also say that if every other single football club in the history of football has failed more frequently than Manchester United, I think it's a silly argument to say that the most successful team that has ever played football fails 65% of the time. That's the argument I was making.
That's nonsense.
Why?
Nonsense.
Why is it nonsense?
Because you're only making that argument because we don't win no trophies. That's the only reason. It only comes from a Tottenham fan saying that right now. You're saying that right now because we're Tottenham fans and we don't win any trophies. You wouldn't come with that nonsense if you're a Chelsea fan, bruv. You wouldn't come with that nonsense if you're an Arsenal fan, bruv. You wouldn't come with that nonsense if you're a Manchester City fan, bruv. And you wouldn't come with that nonsense if you're a Leicester fan, bruv. So it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Not nonsense.
I'm sorry.
It's not nonsense.
It's absolute nonsense.
Not nonsense. It's not.
It is nonsense because you just said no, but bruv. No, it's bro. It's not. You can say it's fact. Well, perpetual losers then, bruv. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. That's not. You would not say that if you're a Chelsea fan. You would not say that if you're an Arsenal fan, bruv. You wouldn't say it.
You're missing my point. You're missing my overall point. I'm saying that Manchester United are not perpetual losers. I'm saying that every other club that, according to that statistic, fails more often than Manchester United. Everybody, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, Tottenham, Leicester, everybody else. I am not calling them perpetual failures. I am not. But the people that say if you don't win a trophy, you have failed, are calling all of those clubs failures. Perpetual, perennial failures. And I'm saying it's a madness statement. It's ridiculous. So when you're laughing at me, you're really laughing at yourself because I'm not saying it. I'm saying it's silly. It's ridiculous. But the people that proclaim if you don't win a trophy, you have failed, I'm saying that is bollocks. It's bonkers because the most successful team of all time fails more often than they don't under that rationale. And I think that rationale is silly. Do you understand what I'm saying now?
I don't get it. Still.
Well,
because you're just making the argument about the fact that trophies don't matter again. And bro, unfortunately, the fact is you would not make that argument. You would not make that argument. You would not make that argument if you're not a Tottenham fan, bro.
Alex,
it only comes from a Tottenham fan saying that. I heard it from Brains. I heard it from Brains.
You're not listening to a word I'm saying.
Well, I don't think it's a non-statement.
It's like you're hearing noise, but you're not listening to me. Right?
What do you mean hearing noise, bruv?
You're hearing me, but you're not listening to me.
Oh, I'm hearing what you're saying.
If I had $1 every time I said that in my lifetime in a relationship, but
why make the
speaking
statement
of, man,
then,
I want to say, what's up, Bob? How you doing?
No, I'm liking it, Bob, because honestly, Bob, you love the attention, Bob, because you love the attention from Mr. Box Office every single time, man. The main event, Bob, you just love it. You love it every single time with these statements. Honestly,
what are you talking about?
Honestly, Bob.
The overriding point I was trying to get to, right, was that for me, when you look at Daniel Levy, hi Bob, how you doing, mate? By the way, good to see you, man. I'm gonna make my last statement on this. Alex, accept it or don't, right? But I wasn't trying to go down these random tangents you're taking it. The overriding argument that I'm suggesting, which is why I brought it up in the first place, is that winning a trophy like a cup, like an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup or a Champions League or any of that stuff, I think that stuff has more variance. When I say variance, I don't mean like a COVID variant, with a TS. I mean variance with a CE.
Don't say COVID.
Okay, I'm talking about like there's more factors that are outside of anyone's control that can affect your ability to win or lift a cup in any one season, right? But I personally believe that the best barometer of success is how you do in the Premier League or in any given league, because you can't avoid playing great teams. You have to play everybody twice, home and away. And over the course of a season, injuries tend to pan out. Bad decisions by referees tend to pan out, and you can't avoid playing the good and the bad. Whereas in a cup, like we're finding right now in the FA Cup, Tottenham have got a pretty good chance because we've avoided all the tough teams. All the other tough teams have played each other. And if we get past Wrexham or Sheffield United and go through to the quarterfinal, imagine if Manchester City get drawn against Manchester United. Tottenham could have a pathway through to the final without ever playing a tough team. And that is why I don't believe that winning trophies is necessarily the best barometer of success, because there are situations and circumstances that happen in moments when you're in a cup competition that don't necessarily matter over the course of the season. And that's why when people say that Daniel Levy has overseen the longest drought, the longest trophy drought in Tottenham's history, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, he's also overseen Tottenham finishing in their highest league position, the highest.
I want to see trophies.
I know. Let me finish. Then I'll shut up. Their highest 3 league positions since 1961, and to me, that is a decent barometer. It's not the only barometer, but it's a decent barometer, and that's why cups, whilst important, because cups are a measurement of success, but they're not the lack of cups is not necessarily a measurement of failure. That's all I was saying.
Right.
Jacob,
Quick response to that. Easy. Yeah, I agree. The league's a great barometer for success. That's why the team that wins it gets the trophy, and they're viewed as the most successful team in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Jacob,
it's the same argument.
I'll finish it off.
It's a different trophy.
I'll finish him off just saying this. I'll just finish him off saying this. Okay, it means that we're not a top six club. That's the first thing. And secondly, a top team in the top 6 gets you a trophy and gets in the top 4 as well, bruv. So it's both. It's both. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. You know what I mean? Liverpool know that, Chelsea know that, Manchester United know that, and Arsenal know that. Because if you don't have a trophy with getting into top 4, you failed. You failed in those clubs. I'll tell you that for a fact. Yeah, you're told, the manager's told to get out the door. That's what they're saying. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry.
I've got no idea I've got no idea what relevance that has to anything I've just said.
You just said
I
to
want
me
to try and get away from the measurement of success real quick.
You just said that. No, you just said that the measurement of success is the league position. That's what.
No,
you just
said. I didn't say that. I said that not winning a trophy is not a measurement of failure. Hear what I'm saying? I don't know how many times I've got to repeat this. It's a very specific difference. It's a very specific difference.
You're just making specific
winning
to
a
your
trophy,
argument. To your argument. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, of course I am, because that's the argument I'm making.
That's what I'm saying. So what's what I'm saying at the moment? That's what
winning a trophy, Alex. Winning a trophy.
I've just let you speak. I've said to you.
You're misrepresenting what I'm saying, though. You're not even listening.
Look, what I'm saying
just one at a time.
What I'm saying to you is, my argument is to the argument that you just said is that you should be either getting into top 4 and winning a trophy, bro. That's what I'm saying to you, to show that you're making success. That's what the top 6 do at the end of the day, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't see your argument.
I don't know where I mentioned top 4. All I was saying was that winning. I agree that if you lift the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup or even the Premier League, that if you lift a trophy, that is a measurement of success. But my argument is the opposite, that not lifting a trophy is not necessarily a measurement of failure. And people that say, if you don't lift a trophy, you have failed, I disagree. And I used Manchester United, who are the most successful team ever, and yet they fail by that argument more times than they succeed. And I think it's very strong to say that the most successful team of all time is a failure more often than they are not. I think that is the argument I'm trying to make. And I don't know why people can't just hear that and not twist it into something else. Just hear what I'm saying, and either you can disagree or you can agree.
Measurement of failure. I'm saying the measurement it's not the measurement of failure at all. I'm saying the measurement of failure is not having top four, not being in top four, and not having a trophy, bro. That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah, so I don't know where you're not saying I'm not listening to my argument as well. You know what I mean? You're getting angry about it, but I'm saying to you right now, I'm putting the argument against.
I'm never angry. I'm never angry. I'm fine. I'm cool.
But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you.
I'm cool.
But yeah.
That was my point.
That's a one win for Mr. Box Office again. That's all I need to say, Bob. You know what I mean? So that's all I need to say. Exactly.
Well, Bob Spur, I haven't heard you speak. You just joined. This is the kind of Friday show that Michael is not here to control things, and I'm like the nice substitute teacher that lets everyone just frolic around and who gives a shit what happens. So I'm actually enjoying listening to the conversation, but I do want Bob's initial thoughts on the fucking supporters trust. First of all, do you trust the supporters trust? And then second of all, how do you feel about the answers provided to the questions asked?
Big up everyone. Yeah, I think it's the most out there questioning the trust has ever done in certainly my lifetime. They've asked some good questions. The answers, I'll be honest, man, it didn't surprise me. I think the fact that the word investment and revenue was mentioned on average, I think about 20 times, and the fact winning and trophies was mentioned once or twice, kind of says to me what I was expecting. I'm not expecting anything, and for me, actions speak louder than words. You know, could have said everything I wanted to hear. It still wouldn't have made a difference. And I know where Sean's coming from. Everyone has their own barometer to judge what success and failure is. And for me, I've been pretty consistent, and Coos know what I'm about saying that. We're for me consistently the top 8th to 10th richest club in the world, revenue-wise, etc. However way you see it. For me, it's layman terms. We're surrounded by the likes of Man United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Inter Milan, Man City, obviously, Chelsea. Now, I'm not expecting Man City, Chelsea, but that's who I judge my football club with the clubs that are around us. And when you compare the trophy haul of them clubs in comparison to ours, I think it's shameful, and I think it's a bit disgraceful. That's simple. It's simple for me. I'm not an accountant. I don't know anything about financial. I just look at the Forbes kind of whatever rich list, and we're constantly there. We're up there continuously. And then I look at the other clubs who are around us, and it's a fucking piss take. And that for me, in layman terms, that for me is how I judge my club, and my club has failed. And the reason my club has failed is simply put is because of Lenik, and that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it.
Okay, well, Kuva, I haven't heard you speak, but before I hear you speak, I have another guest who has joined the stream. Paul,
hey,
how are you doing, my friend?
It feels like you guys, none of you sleep. You're on all the time on some channel somewhere.
Well, to be fair, I am honored that everyone is here. We're having a nice Friday night out. I have yet to have dinner, so I'm a little hungry, a little feisty.
To be
Paul,
fair, To be fair, I only came on because I love you, Jacob. Yeah, I like your enthusiasm and delusion sometimes, yeah, bruv, about Adama Traore. But I came on because Sean is my nemesis sometimes. I love him with his take sometimes. So I love to take on people. You know what I mean?
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how people can have nemesis without even considering the other person as like irrelevant? Like it's
Sure, you love it, bruv. You love it. You absolutely love it.
Alex, I love you. I do love you, mate.
Yeah, I love you.
I don't know if sometimes we're having the same conversation. Sometimes we're talking and I feel like I'm making one point and you're like, you're somewhere over here making another point. And that point might be relevant, but whether it's relevant to the topic that we're talking about, I sometimes I just don't know.
That's what YouTube's all about, bro. Sorry, Jacob. Sorry to interrupt you, Jacob. Sorry to interrupt you, Jacob.
Honestly, the way my mind works, I've often said my mind works like a squirrel in a forest full of trees, and sometimes I'll be on this branch, sometimes I'm on this branch. So honestly, I enjoy the debate. My mind kind of works the same way, so I can understand you a lot, Alex. Paul, welcome. How do you feel about the supporters trust and all that jazz, the answers they gave, etc.?
He's going to land. He's going to say something like, whatever Sean thinks, I'm the opposite. That's what he's going to say, something similar to that.
Yeah, something like that. I thought when the answers went out, I thought the answers were a bit pointed from the trust, and I don't really know anything about the trust or what, all the politics and all that crap. I'll just assume they represent fans, and I thought the questions were fair enough, if a bit sort of weirdly worded, and Sean was right. Wrapping 3 questions in one is never going to work because you just ignore what you want to ignore then. But I thought when Tottenham's response came through, obviously I'm biased. I don't like any of them, but I was still hopeful that I'd see something in there that sounded like a football club. And it just sounded like a load of corporate old bollocks with a touch of, who are you plebs to question us anyway? And it's like, well, like it or not, we're the fans. We are more important than you at the end of the day. If we piss off, there's no club. So, even though the questions were, I wouldn't quite say aggressive, maybe assertive from the trust, I thought the board should have shown a bit more bloody hubris in their response and realised who's buttering their bread at the end of the day, and put their emotion to one side and recognise that fans are frustrated and fans are pissed off. And maybe
what sort of answers would you have liked to have heard?
Something that that talked about football more. Not and coming up with things like the FFP, which we're so far under at the moment.
I agree with that. That was the worst way to finish.
Just something it's hard to exactly answer your question there, Sean, but something that would have just got my football juices excited.
But I'd love to know, because I'm guessing all of you feel differently to me about the club generally, right? You're all on a different levels, different tangents, right? But you're all somewhere on that side. You're pissed off with the club more than I am. I'm pissed off, but not quite anywhere near you guys. But I'd love to know one of you to tell me like an answer that you wanted to hear that I think is a realistic answer to have wanted to hear.
That's the thing, Sean, isn't it, mate? Because of the and I don't know if Paul or anyone else agrees with me, but in hindsight, even if they put out a statement saying we're going to invest, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, actions speak louder than words. I wouldn't have believed them a second. Hence the reason why I'm taking this as a pinch of salt, because A, it doesn't surprise me, and if they had put something out, I'm saying this is our vision. This is again, actions speak louder than words. So it's irrelevant.
So nothing they could have said would have satisfied you.
No, but
and I actually appreciate your honesty.
Yeah,
I think that's that. No, it's fine. It's fine because I actually think that that's a common theme. I don't think they could have said anything that would have really satisfied you or anyone, because I think if they came out and said, yeah, you know what, we fucked up, we've wasted money, or we haven't spent enough, we'll do better, I think most people would have gone, you see, they're fucking shit. Even they acknowledge that they're shit. Now all you Levy-in bastards need to wake up, and even they recognise how bad they are. And they were never going to say that ever in a million years.
Let's clip that and wrap up.
No, for me personally, it would have been.
Love it,
If
Kuba.
they said that, Sean, for me personally, it would have been okay. They've said that. Let's wait and see. I don't believe it, but it was same. To be fair, again, not being a hypocrite, is when the £150 million all thing came out. I said, then we're not going to spend that. There was a lot of, no one read the small print. Everyone concentrated on the 150 million. There was a hell of a lot of small print that a lot of people chose to ignore to suit their own narrative. And I believe that, there wasn't, no one, they weren't going to spend that. About the any more players coming in after we brought in the Bissoumas, the Richarlison, I thought that was it. And I think that was a ploy. And that is my mentality. I'm not apologising for that. I believe there was a thing of let's shut some of these people up by getting players in early and then do fuck all. And then so that's how my mind works. So yeah, I agree. No matter what they came out with today, the fact they came out with this doesn't surprise me. In fact, it kind of, I'm kind of expecting that, and bravo to them to come out and not come out with bullshit. But if they had come out with a lot of we're going to do this, we're going to do that, I still would have said I won't believe it till I see it. And that's 23 years, I suppose.
No, exactly.
No, just be honest.
The overall tone of the questions and the answers, I don't know. Like what I was saying about the football coming from the board, there wasn't much football coming from the trust questions either. And the question about Antonio Conte, I thought was incredibly pointed, that there's no way the board can answer anything like that. And I think, the Spurs trust could have kept it simple. We've conceded over 30 goals this season so far. What's the club doing to fix that? Something simple.
100%. And you know what, Paul? Why only 4? Why only 4 questions? Where was the rule written that you can only ask 4 questions?
Yeah.
Why not 10 questions rather than like combining 3 random questions? As you've already acknowledged that we agree on that. Like, why wrap 3 questions into one where the board can take the advantage to dismiss? Like, why not 10, 12, 20 questions? I want a specific answer.
Like,
what's the situation? We're defending, like we are.
The questions for me, Sean, they felt like they were what a middle school kid would write when they're like, you get to talk to the president of the United States and you get to write him a question. Let me fit 3 questions in there.
What's your stance on world peace?
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest.
I believe it.
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest. I don't care. I don't even know why people were so bothered about it anyway, because the fact is, and I don't even know why people make a big deal about it, because I knew that he's not going to get anything out of it anyway. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they responded. I didn't think they would respond. The fact is, I mean, it was a pointless answer to answer about Conte anyway, because everybody knows he's going anyway. I don't even know. I mean, people on your stream, Sean, were saying, "Oh, why are people going on about?" We all know he's going. It's not a question of if, it's when. That's the thing. Simple. I agree with you on that. That's out respect to what's going on with him at the moment. I'm not speaking about that because people can twist that and say, "Oh, what are you saying about somebody who's ill at the moment?" No, I'm talking about the football side. You know what I mean? Mr. Box Office only talks about the football side, not political side, because that's Alex's job. You know what I mean? But my point is, right, is that he's going, Kane's going, Right, Kane's going. Yeah, because if Kane stays, and the thing is though, what Danny said as well, saying, "Oh, he could have signed the contract and everything else." If he signs that contract, there's no moaning. There's no moaning anymore. Yeah, because he knows exactly what Tottenham's all about now. You know what I mean? There's no moaning saying, "Oh, I haven't got this player, I ain't got this player, I ain't got this player." It's like you get on with it now, bruv, because you know what you signed. You know what I mean? Like Kane. Yeah. Saying that, I need ambition and everything else. Well, bruv, if you sign that contract, if you're staying at Tottenham, you're liking it at the moment, bro. You've got to just get on with it. You know what I mean? You've got to play with players like Dyer, players like Davis, even though he's not that bad. Sanchez, Sessegnon, you know what I mean? And take the dross that you get from him, you know what I mean? So I'm sorry.
I'd agree with that. All of that, Alex. I think... because I don't give a toss about Conte being here or not. I'm not enjoying the football.
I'm the same as you.
No, I agree with you, Kuva.
So,
I agree with you, Kuva.
But I could easily get behind Conte if he were to sign a new contract and his first press conference was, "I've agreed terms with the club. This is the plan. We're doing a 3-year plan, at the end of which we are aiming to win the league title." If he did something like that, there is a clear defined moment on what the club is doing. There's a purpose. There's a sense of direction. And if he said something along the lines of, we're prepared to sacrifice the domestic cups and even European football in the pursuit of getting this league title.
Mate,
it won't go down well with
you understand, mate. They're never, ever. They can't be that definitive. Even if it comes down to something like, yeah, I've got the backing from the chairman. We're going to improve the squad. There's reasons why you don't make those sorts of statements in public. Like no, what manager has ever said that? What chairman has ever come out and said that?
Newcastle
it doesn't
did.
happen. That, huh?
Newcastle did. Newcastle.
What did Newcastle? What did Newcastle
They
say?
said they were going to win the league within 10 years.
They want to win the league within 10 years.
Yeah.
So if Tottenham say we want to
make top 4 in 1 year,
that's something, mate. And I think that's the biggest issue. If they come out and said we're going to win a trophy, even not compete for a trophy, and
they're in a final too. Don't forget they're in a final.
Do you understand what I'm saying about the trophies, though, right? You understand what I'm saying about the trophies, that there's so much variant, right? That it's like Tottenham have got the best chance to win an FA Cup in 30 years this year. But it's not because Tottenham are great, it's because we got super lucky with the draw.
Yeah, agreed there.
And that's part and parcel of winning it.
So for me, I just don't think that the lack of trophies is the right way to judge an ownership, because if Tottenham had like, I don't know, when we played Manchester United in the Carabao Cup and we drew 0-0 and then we lost on penalties.
Right? I get that.
I
know what you're saying. I agree. Luck's got a lot to do with it. Players, and I agree. I agree with that 100%. A lot to do. But again, if I'm using my barometer and what I'm judging by, the likes of the Liverpool, Real Madrid, they've not relied on continuous luck of the draw and injuries and to win to put trophies into their cabinet. It can't be like that.
Liverpool won the Champions League against us because of the VAR, because of the handball, right?
Sean, you're just looking at just little margins here. I'm sorry, again. At the end of the day, you're looking at little margins. At the end of the day,
23 years, Sean. 23 years. Compare our club to the 23 years of the clubs. I know we've not been constantly in that top 8 or 10, but I'm sure they weren't as well. But if we're comparing our success under Lienick to the clubs that we are surrounded by, if you're telling me, mate, we can't be on their level at all, on their level, because of the rub of the green, because of a VAR decision, because of the luck of the draw, then I think maybe,
but how have we got into the top 6 conversation? Right,
because we're pretenders.
When Daniel Levy, hang on 1 second, Alex. When Daniel Levy took over, we were finishing, and they make this point. And listen, it came across as maybe defensive, maybe a give a fuck to the fans, whatever, however you want to interpret it. But actually, I view it as people who feel like they've done a decent job of taking us from where we were to where we are, something that I actually have always been mentioning for the last year. And I don't think it gets enough credit. As I said, I keep mentioning that. I think that the league is the best barometer. When Daniel Levy took over, we weren't the top six club. We were a bottom 5 club, bottom 6 club. Right, and we've gone through that journey, and we're now a top 6 club. So the fact that Bob Spur, you want to compare us to the likes of Inter Milan, who by the way are broke, to Chelsea, who by the way would be nowhere if it wasn't for sugar daddy ownership, Manchester City, sugar daddy ownership, and every other team, with the exception of Leicester, that has won more trophies than us in the last 21 years. They've always been better than us. They've always been bigger than us, or they've had sugar daddy money come in the past 21 years. They got ahead of the curve, that were early doors into the new financial economy in football. And I think that Daniel Levy and Enoch have competed amongst that growth whilst making ends meet. And that shouldn't be something that is ridiculed or chastised or in any way criticized. I think it should be something that's applauded, that despite the 5 teams that have always been better than us and the new teams that have come in with new money, that Tottenham Hotspur have got to that point where we have the audacity to have the conversation about what is it going to take to win the league, all while we're doing that whilst living within our means. I don't see why that's such.
I'll take that on board, Sean. I'll take that on board. But then, if we're applauding them for success, Are we right to shit on them if we're declining? We're in decline at the moment. If we've not kicked on from that second place, and we can applaud them to get to that second place and continuous semi-finals and finals, we're nowhere near that at the moment. We're challenging for top 4 now. We're challenging to be in Europe. So if we're applauding him for that, I take your argument, and you're right. Maybe the blindness from myself, I can only talk to myself for myself, doesn't look at that, and I'm probably blinded by the lack of success and how I judge it. But then surely we've got every right to put the decline, and we are in decline at the moment. We have been declining.
In what way are we in decline? Right. So if it hadn't have been for Newcastle United being bought out by a sugar daddy owner, we'd still be in the top 4. Correct?
You said, Sean, you said this a while back. For you, the barometer of success is
the league.
It's kicking on. It's kicking on.
Basically. Progress,
and we failed to do that. We've failed to do that since
Pochettino.
Kicking on from second, and that for me, I always bring that up. The failure to kick on from Pochettino,
and I acknowledge that.
And for me, they need to be.
So when
got lucky.
When Levy tries to take credit for saying, "Well, look where the club was when I took over," like since 1982, when we had Irving Scholar and Alan Sugar completely gut the club and take most of the stuff that was good out of it, for Daniel Levy to then come along and claim, so aren't I great for somehow getting a pulse back into the fucking thing, when we, as older fans, know that before Irving Scholar, we were a fucking great club. We were never one of the top 3 richest clubs in the world, in the country, but we were always in the mix. We were always entertaining, and we won shit. We won shit. So we know that the capacity of our football club is to win now and then, and win in fucking style. And it's just successive owners that have put the blockers on that. They really have.
We just haven't got no direction, though.
On what level were we competing, mate? You're saying that before
Are you fucking kidding me? What about league titles, man? UEFA Cup, FA Cup. We're in the top 3. We were competing for fucking everything.
He's making a good point, though, Paul.
62 years for us to.
Yeah, but Paul, he's making a good point, though. He's making a good point because we were relevant then. We were relevant.
1961.
Yeah, we were relevant though. We won.
No,
we won
I'll give you up until. I'll give you up until 91.
One
at a time. I can't hear you all when you're both talking.
The engines of Tottenham Hotspur were taken off in 1982. Since then, we've been gliding. Now and then we've caught a thermal, and we've had highs like maybe 87 and 91. But the overall trend of the club has been down. We are a successful club. It's just 32 years of fucking shit ownership.
32 years.
And here's the thing, it's not about investment, it's not about money, it's the fact that they're not football-minded. That's the only thing it comes down to. They don't get football.
At what point do you stop counting the years and start to say that was 2 generations ago? You're saying the last time we were relevant was in the 1981 season.
Okay, I can give an example to back that up. And it's a different club, but look at Sevilla in Spain. They cannot possibly compete with Barcelona and Real Madrid financially. Nowhere near it. Yet they have the plan to come out and say, we're going to go for the domestic cups and we're going to go for the European cups that we're in. Since 2013, they've won 4 Europa Leagues and a couple of Spanish cups. That's a level of success that they've sustained despite their massive handicap in the league. To say that we can't compete with the likes of Man City and Liverpool, to me, doesn't matter. What about all the Europa Leagues we've been in? What about the Europa Conference we were in?
Exactly.
We throw it away every time because we never
I wanted to win the Conference League so bad. I wanted to win it so bad.
Yeah.
And by the way, yeah, we keep on saying so much greatness about Pochettino. We got lucky, bruv. We got lucky with him, bruv. We got lucky with Martin Yole because Martin Yole was an assistant, bruv. He was an assistant. Yeah? That's the only reason why he got to Tottenham, because he was an assistant. If Santini was a good enough manager, he wouldn't even really. I think he'd be out the door. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So do you guys
ever reflect on the fact that maybe you're cherry picking like the good memories and ignoring everything else that ever happens and think
No, because
that
it was all good
you're
memories, man. From 1882 until 1991, we were a fucking fantastic club. Every fucking year.
You weren't alive for 80% of that, Paul. Come on, mate. Like, things change. Ford Motors was the best fucking company in the world in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. Now they're on their knees, mate.
That's
things
a car
change.
company.
The world
It's
changes.
not a football club.
Like,
It's not a football club. That's like saying wagon wheels have got smaller. It's got nothing to do with it.
I could see Paul's point, but I could also see your point. Mine's recent. Poch ain't that far ago, man.
Sure, okay, yeah, no, okay, fair enough.
2019, yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we were in the final.
I agree with you on that.
You're digging a hole for yourself just saying that. You're just digging a hole for yourself saying that.
I'll make this point 1,000 times over, and I'll make it 1,000 times.
Why is that digging a hole?
You're digging a hole for yourself just saying that, bro.
No.
You know what I mean? It should be, bruv. Taking part don't mean nothing, bruv. You know what I mean? Taking part just means nothing, bruv. We just taking part in the final, bruv. Like we just taking part in the Carabao Cup, bruv. Like we taking part in Carabao Cups before, bruv. You know what I mean? Like getting into top 4, bruv. It's about winning. That's what it is. It's about winning it and taking it home, taking the bacon home and getting back into our stadium, into our trophy cabinet, bruv. You know what I mean? You know, and that's what we did. That's what we did in 1960. Paul's absolutely spot on, bruv. Bill Nicholson made us relevant, bruv. Yeah. What is his name? Keith Burchell made himself relevant, bruv. Because those memories were because of good football and trophies,
memories
bruv,
that you
and leaders,
you remember
bruv.
those days.
That's why I remember
Alex,
all those teams.
You remember Bill Nicholson, do you, mate? You remember Bill Nicholson?
Yes, I do remember Bill Nicholson because I've actually researched about him because I can learn more from that history than what I'm learning now, bruv. All I'm learning is about losing, bruv.
You go
That's
back
all I'm learning.
6,000 years. The Egyptians built the fucking pyramids. They were the center of the universe. Now that Egypt
allegedly.
Oh boy, here we come hypotheticals here.
They allegedly built the
Here we
pyramids.
go.
Allegedly.
Bloody hell!
That's a relevant point. Things change. The game moves on.
I'll tell you what's changed, Bob. I'll tell you what's changed. I haven't woken up. You need to wake up, Bob. We're not a top 6 club. Just why you just said it, we're not a top 6 club. So what are you going to argue there, Bob? You know what I mean? Mr. Boxoff, he took it the truth again.
Are we a top 7 club, Alex? Are we a top 7 club?
Okay, so all right, so things change. So now Tottenham Hotspur is a shit club. Why the fuck does anyone support it? What's the fucking point?
Exactly. The history of the club is
what is that as a
absolutely, Cuva.
Is that
like when I used to go to White Hart Lane in the 80s, in the early 80s, I used to love talking to the older fans because they're the ones that could tell me stories about Danny Blanchflower, Jimmy Greaves, Martin Peters, all these people that I could never see. It's that is part of football. You see, the money men don't understand it. The football isn't just buying and selling players, investment. It's life. It's everything.
When you say things like the money men don't understand football, I would throw it back that the football people don't understand money. And to me,
well, fuck them. We don't want. We don't want the money.
Yeah, exactly, mate. But you know what? If you want to have a cogent argument, if you want to have like a decent debate, you have to respect the fact that in this day and age, maybe it wasn't the case in the 60s, but in this day and age, money equals success, and success requires money. That one hand washes the other, and the game has moved on to a new realm, and we're competing with new entities, and the thing has changed. And if you always look over your mirror and go, remember when we were back in the 60s or even the 80s, when we didn't win a league, by the way, we won an occasional trophy here and there.
We were in the fucking mix, man, I'll tell you that.
We're still in the fucking mix, bro. We're still in the fucking mix.
Why do we sack Jose 5 days before? All this is fine. All this is fine. My biggest issue is 5 days before a final, we sacked Jose Mourinho. Why the fuck did that happen? That to me is when I was like, you know what? I don't care about I understand there's a business side to it because I'm going to chime in for a second here because I haven't spoken in a minute, but I do see both sides of this argument pretty well because here in America, there's a man that is very highly, applauded because of his business ventures. A man by the name of Jerry Jones bought Dallas Cowboys for about $200 million back in the 88, 87, somewhere around there. He bought the Dallas Cowboys for $200 million. Now the Dallas Cowboys are worth $7-8 billion. And they've won, they had success back in the 90s, but they haven't had success, and that's going on 30 years. So there's a lot of similarities there, but this guy is people put him on a very high pedestal because they're like, look at what he did with this team. Look at the brand that he built, the stadium. He built the stadium at the time in 2009 was state of the art.
Sorry, lads, I gotta go.
See, man.
Sure.
See you, sure.
Kind of wanted his 2 cents on this too, but at the time that he built the stadium, it was, you know, state of the art stadium. So he over here is very much like celebrated, and then Daniel Levy, or Enoch Group, whatever you want to call it, whoever it is that runs the show, that built the stadium, that has made the brand what it is today. I just think that I wonder why there's like such a stark difference in the way that these people are viewed.
This is, you know what? I've not really been with Paul, but to be honest with you, I recognise what you're saying because I've done a lot of research.
Pick up Hotspur.
I've done a lot of research on the 1960s when we were really good. You know what I mean? Because I actually had to research what was our best managers, because out of the managers I've been alive for, they ain't been that great. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? We've been put through scraps, and let's be honest here. We got lucky with Martin Yole. We got lucky with Harry Redknapp because we were just desperate because we were going to get relegated with Ramos. And Pochettino, let's be honest here, Van Gaal was our target. Let's be honest here, Van Gaal was our target, and De Boer was our target. Now, if those two came in, we don't know what would have happened. You know what I mean? So Pochettino was just pot luck as well. So, you know, and people say that we've got too much expectations. Well, don't employ Jose Mourinho firstly, and don't employ Antonio Conte. Just don't do it. What's the point? What is the point?
I just don't see
my argument with Conte. What is the point?
What is the point? You know, it's just like, and you know, because everybody knows that it's a question of when rather than if. Everybody knows. You know, everybody wants it to work, but you just can see it. It's just not going to work. You know, and I don't want to say that, but it's only so much you can do. When someone has like I said, I keep on saying this, when you've had the same conversation with somebody for how many times over a year or so, the same conversation, and someone's not listening to you by what you're seeing from the signings, there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And that what I mean is Conte having a conversation with Daniel Levy. If you're having a conversation with Daniel Levy how many times and it's not happening, what can you say? Nothing really, isn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, do I talk nonsense now? Tell me whether I talk nonsense. I'll tell you some of the comments telling me that I talk nonsense, but it's not nonsense. Yeah. Mr. Botsov is talking the truth again. If you don't know, get to know. But anyway, go back to you, Paul.
I just don't see how you can divorce a football club's history from the present day. You know, it's otherwise anyone born now or getting interested in football now would support Arsenal, I guess. You know, whereas you don't do that. You know, I mean, winning stuff attracts you, I guess, as a kid, or it might be a player, but it's also the feeling of the club, and then you realise, you know, the heights that they've reached. It becomes a romantic thing, and those are the emotional things that draw you into supporting a club. You know, that you want to see things like that return, get a taste of that glory. If you just judged it on today's performance, there isn't anyone on earth that would actually support Tottenham Hotspur at all. Be no point.
Most people go to Chelsea.
Which is why I have a problem with the ownership, because if you come in and you don't take all of that on board, that you've got a zealot level sort of fan base that absolutely got to have success at the club, got to have good football. You've got to take all of that on board. It's an emotional game. It's supposed to provoke emotions. That's the whole point in it. If you don't take that on board, I don't think you should have any business in running a football club. You can be completely separate from it. You cannot be blind to all of that. It's a responsibility. It's a social aspect of it. A lot of this is stuff. It's like family to us, especially if you live around the ground. It's like your week's built around the build up to a game. It's a massive thing. To just put it aside and say it's all about the business and that's everything is completely wrong. I'm not having a pop at Sean in particular. Just It's just
Sean's cool. Sean's cool.
Yeah.
He enjoys it. He enjoys the heat. He enjoys it. That's what he starts to revel in it a little bit, brother. You know what I mean? You know what he's like, Kuba.
Oh yeah, we had to have a bust up last week on this show for me and Shawnee to make up.
This very channel. Yeah.
I saw it.
It was nice. It was nice. I thought it was nice because, hey, that's kind of the way I've always seen it. Like, a lot of things is, regardless of how you feel on it, at the end of the day, like, there's nothing wrong with the little hug. And I thought that you guys hugged it out nicely. Now, I do want to ask you this question, how you feel about the fact that, like, I don't know if you saw Chelsea versus Fulham. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on in this household of mine. Todd Bowley, I think that's his first name. Todd Bowley, the American dude, he is very much, you could see his passion because when they cut to him, in between chances, he's very much animated. That's something you see in a lot of American sports by the owners of the teams, and I think that's part of. I'm kind of answering my own question here. Why I think Jerry Jones is applauded and Enoch Group is like kind of demonized is because he's still passionate and wants to win. It's never been a lack of desire or visible because every time that you see him. He's very much into the game. Do y'all, Paul and Kuva and Alex, I'm an American asking y'all, how do you feel about your owner basically celebrating and kind of being like very up and down with the game, if you will? Do y'all care about seeing that kind of passion? Is it kind of annoying? What's y'all's take on it?
Easy for me. I always think with Levy, you could say, Spurs won, and he goes, "Oh, did it?" He's got no attachment to the club. He sits there, but I've never seen him as a fan. The fact that Enoch have been investing in clubs all over Europe, it's not like he's come out and just thought, "Yeah, I've got to get in this club. This is my club." It's not about that. It is a money making venture. You can actually do it hand in hand with the goals of a club. It can work. I mean, if you look at it at the basic level of, if we had a functioning first team squad and he's pumping in 100 million a year, which is probably doable, I think, we should be able to maintain a pretty decent team capable of challenging for trophies year after year. But we just don't do it, and it's like the feeling for me is with the chairman. It doesn't really matter. It never does. It's just this board in general. There's something really wrong with the club. And when you start hearing about stories about the board possibly being torn about appointing Pochettino or sticking with Conte or going with somebody else, you think they can't even agree at that level. It's like there's no. It always comes back to that sense of direction. Don't feel it. The club's response to some of the questions. Still don't feel that way. It's always hit and miss. Like Alex said, if even with Pochettino, occasionally they'll get lucky with a manager. Things will fall into place at the right time.
Lucky with the player as well.
Harry Kane. I mean, what would Poch have done if Harry Kane didn't come through at the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't near as good. So you can wing it a bit, but for a club of our size, surely we should be doing more than this. That's the underlying feeling for me. And I don't get that passion. I don't feel it. So it seems a very sort of cold, calculated character, does Levy. As Jacob's saying about the American owners, something to be said for that, isn't there? You get the big brash sort of, the big sort of Texan attitude, if you like, with the throw some money at it, it'll be all right. We'll just sort it out. It's the American way of doing it.
Get your guns out too. That don't work.
Throw the money out there until it fixes whatever's broken. It's been a tried and trusted thing in America, hasn't it? So, I can see fans being on board with that more. But as you said, doesn't necessarily work. You've got to have both things in place: the financial side and the passion for doing something. Because, like you said, the Dallas Cowboys, they should win a hell of a lot more than they do as well. Could argue well, no, they're not Tottenham. They get way more money than we'll ever get.
But honestly, I used to work for them for 6.5 years. I worked for that company. I'll call it a company because that's what it became. and there's a lot of similarities between Tottenham and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to bore everyone with this. Is just like, I mean, even the stadium, the design of the stadium is so similar to the design of Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium. So it's very interesting to me. Paul, do you care about a flamboyant owner, like a person who's very emotional on the...
Look, I guess when it comes down to it, I don't really care. I guess it's just, sign the checks, bitch, as far as I'm concerned. I think what's happening at Chelsea is interesting, though, with Todd Bowley, because I just don't think he understands football, but he's at the extravagant extreme. And I think, when we're talking about football history, Chelsea's history before Abramovich was bang bloody ordinary. And I'm convinced that they are going to actually return to that natural state, because Todd Bowley hasn't got the money that Abramovich has. He's bought a load of players, and they could easily go into like an Everton death spiral where they have a bad run of form, then the players drop in value, and FFP kicks in eventually for them somehow. I don't know why it hasn't already. And then if they end up, say, getting in the relegation zone or down, they're fucked. They're into administration, like Everton could be if that happens to them. So, history does give you some indication of a football's natural size outside of all this investment, because at the end of the day, I know what Sean's saying about the investment's important, but they're on our turf. They're trying to get involved with football. So if you don't get football and the football disappears from a club or a league or whatever, then you've got nothing. So if you want to be involved, then you have to a large extent, do what we say. Otherwise, we'll smell it for being what it is. It's not football, and we'll fuck off.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Jump up and down or not, I don't care. But if you do jump up and down,
that's what it sounds like.
If you do jump up and down and you are excited about the club, you've got to understand that you don't know enough about football to make big decisions, and you have to employ people who do and get them and delegate to them. And you just sign the checks, fucker.
Yeah, the Todd Bowley approach is bloody risky. It's unbelievably risky,
isn't it?
That's kind of why I think they're going to be sticking with Graham Potter as manager. I think they've got to try and get a consistent way of playing with all these new players coming in. Because if they're chopping and changing manager, players aren't going to know what the hell's going on. You're going to have this disjointed, massive squad, and you're going to be wasting the talent. And if you start wasting the talent, as Paul said, the player values start plummeting. If that happens, Chelsea got a big problem, unless they're happy to just write off those sort of losses.
I mean, most of them are they're paying it over years, aren't they? I mean, to be fair, I do hear what you're saying, Cooper, but I think it's very creative as well. To be honest with you, I think it's very creative in the way that they structure their deals. I think give them a little bit of applaudance, because they're not making excuses. They're trying to think of a way and, trying to rebuild the squad in a short amount of time, to be honest with you. And for me, I think it shows that Tottenham making the excuses that they're making at the moment is just excuses. You know what I mean? Because they're finding a way of being creative and trying to get themselves back up. The way that Brighton do their things, and I know they haven't won no trophies, but for me, with the excuses that I hear from Tottenham, when you see the way that Brighton are doing things, I think they're doing things with an identity, with a structure, and with a plan of what they want to do, and knowing what they are as a club as well. You know what I mean? And another team as well, which I know people don't like to hear, Leicester City. You know what I mean? It's like, again, they've got a plan, and that's what they're moving forward. And when you don't have a plan, like Everton haven't
But aren't they kind of at the tail end of their plan? Because they won the league, they won FA Cup. Now, 2 years ago they won the FA Cup? I mean, hey, that's still two very nice trophies I would like to win that we are very far from.
Leicester could dine out on that for decades, man. That was a huge achievement for them.
I mean, that's what I'm kind of saying is, like, I feel like Tottenham, we should have done that in recent time. We should have done that, and we should still be building for something else. I mean, make of it what you will, but I just feel like from the top down, this club is in shambles. It needs. Kuva, you said maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, like just burn it all down. I don't know if you were being serious. Like just burn it all down to the ground, and let's play at the old White Hart Lane. I kind of thought about it. Like I feel like whenever Conte's press conferences started becoming more and more like apathetic, if you will. I don't know the right word. It was like it just started killing the hope that I had. And I'm a Conte fan. I'm always been a huge fan of Conte being here, and I've supported him being here. But his press conferences before the gallbladder thing was kind of like leading up to this window was just very. It seemed like a negative foreshadowing, and so I've really gotten to a bad place. And then when things kind of just kept looking the way they are, but the Pedro Porro thing is something that brought me some hope. I can't lie, it brought me some hope. I started feeling good about maybe there's something salvageable this season. Hotspurs, I started this comment. Great question. Says, is Porro going to start versus City? What's your thoughts after the saga of getting him? Real quick, I'll answer that. My thoughts are, should have been done. This is another example of Shambles FC. Should have been done the first week of January. I give you 7 days, 5 if I'm being honest, but I'll give you 7 if I'm being generous. And I thought the fact that we took till the 31st to pretty much pay all the fees that they wanted in the first place, I think was a joke. But I would have loved to have him for the North London Derby for the first City game. I think you start him versus this City. He played a final just a week ago tomorrow, that he played in a final. So this is a guy that you just got to throw him right in. We've waited long enough. If him going out there and fumbling and bumbling around trying to learn the tactics is what we see, I would still rather see that than the alternate.
Yeah,
so that's how I feel.
He has to play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And by the way, Jacob, to be honest with you, mate, what Conte's doing at the moment, he's just exposing us. He's just completely exposing us.
But that's what I really liked about him at first, because his press conferences were like, I'm going to call it how it is. If I see something that looks fucked up, I'm going to say, hey, go fix that shit. And for the first part of his tenure, I really felt that was the way. And then it kind of just seemed like the press conference specifically that I'm referring to is the one where he said, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th is where we should be. Yeah, and my job is to improve the team, not win anything.
Yeah, because he's
that was just like, okay, clearly our direction is top 4, and that's fucking it. Bare minimum. Scrape the bottom of the barrel.
That's why he's exposing us. It's exposing us. He's exposing what we are as a club. You know what I mean? Because he's a winner. He's here. He's a person that goes into a club over a few years and wins stuff. When he's not winning stuff, when he's not competing with the likes of Klopp, Pep, and Pep, he don't like it. He can't stand it.
Well, who would? I mean, if you're a winner, of course you want to be up there with the big boys.
He can't stand it. And the thing is, like I said before, when you have the same conversation with somebody over the year, and you've been begging him to come to your club, because we went to him twice, by the way, twice, yeah, and said to him, can you come to our club? Can you come to our club? Yeah. Like I said to Kuva said about the whole thing about Conte, yeah, that, I don't know what you said, but I can't remember what you said, but my thoughts is, my thoughts is, the decision to get Conte in, you have that conversation the first time he's coming into the club, bruv. You know what I mean? You say to him, what you got to do for me, bro? You know what I mean? What you got to come for me, bro? You know what I mean? And say to him, this is the plan. There was no plan. It was just like saying, get Conte in to get the fans up and down and jump up and down singing Antonio's name, and that's it. That was all it was. And he did it because what happened...
I'm over here across the fucking world jumping up and down in my living room singing Antonio.
We got top 4 and you saw what happened. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? I was told, I was in the mud because I was told, yeah, that I was talking absolute nonsense because we were lucky to get top 4. Ironically, a certain person, Saba, says the same thing that I was saying, yeah? Right? Then I'm coming to next season and I'm saying we're playing rubbish, yeah? We're playing rubbish this season, yeah? I get people tapping out, walking out of a show because they can't take the truth. Yeah, we know who we're talking about. We know who we're talking about, don't we? You know what I mean?
I know what
Yeah?
you're talking about.
And then
I think I do
now,
anyway.
all of a sudden now, yeah, we're now in the FA Cup, still in the Champions League, yeah, but we're playing rubbish football, and everybody wants Conte out now. You know what I mean? This is what we're up. That's what we're all about now. This is what we're all about now. You know what I mean? And if we get a trophy this season, which I think is likely, we can get a FA Cup this season, and that's coming from me.
I was gonna say that looks nice, and I'm kind of delusional when it comes to. I'm always thinking the treble's on until
but we can get
mathematically
an FA
it's
Cup
not.
this season. When you look,
Yeah.
because look at the teams in that FA Cup, yeah. Because all the teams, Manchester United, Leicester City, all those teams, Premier League teams, are looking at that and saying, "You can win that right now, right? If we win that FA Cup, right? Look at all the Tottenham fans will say, we're back. But all I will say is, yes, I'm happy, but Conte's leaving still, yeah, and we still need to sort out our club. You know what I mean?
It's more a feeling of thank God rather than hooray, isn't it? It's like,
Exactly.
That's a good point, Kuva. What up, that Vestal? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Big ups for tuning in. So we're all pretty much in the same boat, right? Pedro's got to start, right? That's kind of
he's got to start.
Got to start.
I think most fans are surely going to say Porro's going to start. It's just with Conte set up, he's very reluctant to bring people into the team straight away, isn't he? He wants to get them up
that's
to speed on tactics.
That's what scares me a little bit. And then also on top of that, Conte's going to be in the fucking hospital still. So it's like, is he going to be on a walkie-talkie? He's got to be there game planning, right? Or is it just Stellini? Stellini out there raw dogging it. What are we thinking?
I think Stellini will be there. To be honest with you, I don't think he's going to risk it. To be honest with you, I can't really comment on it because it's medical. I don't really know what to say on that one. To be honest with you, but for me,
but we know Conte wasn't at training, and he's trained once, and he'll have 2 trainings with Pedro before the City game. So I'm really concerned that maybe it's the fear of. We don't want to throw him in there too soon. Might kick in.
I think it'd be a mistake if he does that. To be honest with you, I think he should just play him because I think the whole thing around him, the whole hype around him at the moment, and the fact that this is we need him, and I think the pressure of it as well. I think you just got to play him, and I don't really hit dear to the fact that it's trying to give us a lift. I just think it's just got to just put it to bed right now and just put him in. You know what I mean? You know, because we're not. It's not a long-term thing anymore with Tottenham anymore. It's a short-term thing now. You know what I mean?
It's a wake up in the morning. Let's see how we're feeling kind of thing.
Just get it going.
Because even Conte did verbatim say that at any point that I feel like this is not the project for me, that I don't want to be a part of, then I can walk away from it. And that's what I'm saying is like, Kuva, the more I've seen some of them press conferences and heard them, it's just I started getting less and less enthusiastic about our prospects. I mean, when you think about it, last year at the end, we're all saying, Sonny got the golden boot. We made top 4. Kulusevski and Bentancur are going to be like really good signings for us. So it's like, come on. We got things to be excited about. There's not too much. And then now we're kind of sitting here, okay, we got knocked out of Carabao. Champions League is a long shot. The league's not looking like we could, we're going to struggle heavily to make top 4. I don't think we will. I think we're going to finish 5th, 6th, somewhere right in there. Just because, back to the earlier argument when the house was packed, all these other teams have been building themselves up more. Why the fuck didn't we get Sven Botman? Everyone on YouTube that I was close to at the time was like, we should get Sven Botman. He's in the name with De Vrij and Skriniar. Get Sven Botman. They spent 40-something last summer on Sven Botman, and look at what they're doing right now. They've conceded like 1 goal in the past 11 home games, something crazy like that. They've lost. They haven't lost at home since like January of last year or some shit. It's insane what they've been doing, and that you need a general at the back when we have fucking Dyer who's in the position who you need a general. That's the problem here. He's been here for fucking 9 years. Ben Davies has been here for 10 years. That's damn near 20 years of service for what? What have they done for us?
I think Dyer's a general liability, really. Isn't it? Yeah, you're right. People say, "Oh, I'm not interested in Arsenal. I'm not interested in looking at our rivals." But I always say we should be. Who else do you compare yourselves to? You've got to look at what they're doing. And are we matching one? Are we keeping up with the noisy neighbours? And you'd have to say, no, we're not. I mean, they some of their fans are even disappointed by that signing of also the Chelsea lad, Jorginho. Yeah. But if you look at it logically, great bit of cover for Thomas Partey if he's out injured. Before that, I thought Arsenal were going to screw up if they get injuries to Partey in particular. They got nothing. Now they have got some backup. Is he playing as well as Thomas Partey? No. But he's pretty damn good backup for him. At least their whole style doesn't fall apart at the seam at the moment he's out. Whereas us, we've still got that same problem. Few of our key players go out, that we're screwed again. Arsenal have reinforced. Have we reinforced? Well, yeah, we got a right back that we assume is going to go straight into the team, but we don't even know that for sure yet, do we? On past evidence of what's been going on, we thought the likes of Bissouma was going to be straight into the team. No worries. It didn't work out that way. It was a long time before he got his debut. So we'll have to wait and see. All I will say is that at least it's the fact that we did get Porro over the line, stopped it being such an embarrassing disaster this time. It just made it a bit of a disappointing window. It could have been worse. That's the only thing to really take out of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you look at what's happening around you with your rivals, and you realise we're not going to be catching up with them. I don't see how we're going to do it at this rate of signing new players in that improve the first 11. I think that's the sad truth at the moment.
Big up, Bobby K. Thank you for the congratulations. We did hit 600 subs earlier today, right before the show started, actually. So thank you to all 600 of you who have subscribed to the channel. Means the world. And thank you to all the patrons as well. Your name's been scrolling down below. We're coming up on an hour and a half here, and we haven't really actually talked much about Man City, which was the bones that I built this show around. So real quickly, I do want to divert our conversation into just kind of our overall thoughts. Actually, I'm going to go around the panel, and I just want to get your starting 11 that you think Stellini, not your preferred one, because I got some preferred 11s that out there that might look a little different than what I think Stellini's would be. But I want to ask y'all what you think Stellini's 11 will be. Kuva, I will start with you. What do you see that man coming out with?
I would have to assume it's a continuity of what Conte picks, with the added complication of does Porro start. For me, I think it's going to be as near to unchanged as you can get from the last few matches, depending on fitness levels. I mean, the likes of Højbjerg will start if he's fit, but I don't know. I haven't checked their fitness, any of the news on that sort of thing. Been too tied up with complaining about the board and seeing what Porro's going to be fit or playing. It's business as normal. Just the question mark over Porro. Wait and see. I just can't predict it otherwise.
So you see generally being the same then?
Yeah. There's no. The only obvious reason to change it and Porro starting is probably going to be more fan pressure than anything else. Because I mean, I'd certainly love to see him start anything but Emerson Royale, but we know that Conte does favour some continuity, and as soon as he gets players he trusts, even if we don't rate them, if he trusts them, they'll stay in the team. And even if Conte's not there at the match, which he certainly won't be, that's why we have assistant managers. They know the score, they know the same sort of style of play. They'll still be in contact, of course, talking about things, and they'll know what to do. It's off we go, same as normal. You can't instantly change it just because your manager's out for a few weeks.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the monkey wrench thrown into the whole thing. Alex, what do you think? You think we're sticking with the typical Conte 11?
I think we're sticking with but I think Porro's definitely going to play. I think you have to play him.
Play or start? Because I could definitely see him coming off the bench. Start? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got to start because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier. So I think for me that's it for me. I think the front three will be the same in terms of Kulusevski, Song, and Kane. I think I've got to be honest. I think Song should have been out of the team. I think he's done okay. I think he's done okay. The finishes against Preston were really good. I've got to be honest, they're very good finishes. But I think it was the same reason why he was successful against Leicester. And I was actually there at Leicester, by the way. So it was a perfect game for him to be introduced in that second half. And I think he just taken advantage of it. You know what I mean? So I think the same thing with Preston as well. But they were very good finishes. I have to say that very, very good finishes.
Yeah,
very good finishes. But I do think he needs a little bit of pressure on him, a little bit, and I think you could use either Danjuma, who I think is okay. For me, I'm not going to go over the top about him, but I'm not too disappointed about deciding now that Gill's gone.
It's an upgrade on Hill at the end of the day.
Yeah, but other than that, I think it's just the same team. I think Perisic is going to play other than Sessegnon, and the normal three at the back, even though Dyer's absolutely bang average, and Lloris in goal. Again, another player that I think is lucky to be in that team as well, to be honest with you. Even though, respect to him, he's been very good for us. So yeah, that's my team.
Sorry, Alex, just going to pull you up on one thing. I think you should stop calling Dyer bang average. Using the word bang makes him sound exciting in some way, and he's not.
Yeah, there's some exclamation mark on there.
He's bang average, Kluver, man. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's sloshy average.
Virgil van Dyer. Virgil van Dyer now. Bloody hell, the gift that keeps on giving Tottenham fans. Bloody hell.
Oh my god, I can't wait for the day that guy is no longer a Tottenham Hotspur player. Paul, you got anything to say about the starting 11? What you think?
Yeah, I think it will be unchanged. Although I think it might be Cess starting, and I think we'll go 2-0 down by half time, which will be 2 stupid fucking goals as usual. And then I reckon around about the 65th minute, we'll bring on Porro and Perisic. And Man City will have been so used to going down that right-hand side to attack poor old Ryan Sessegnon that we'll sneak up our right-hand side and we'll end up winning 4-2 because our 2 wing-backs will take off like the wings on an American eagle.
Go caca, motherfucker. I like it. I do want to say you led directly into the next thing I wanted to get into, which was the score predictions and goal scores. So your score. This is also for the chat as well. Let me know what your score predictions and your goal scores. I will star them, read them at the end of our. Before we sign off here, anyway. So hit us. I saw one coming in from Aaron. I have got that starred. But Paul, so you're saying 4-2 win, 4 goals coming in the second half. Who do you have scoring that?
I reckon I'd have Perisic scoring 1, Harry Kane scoring 2.
So Harry Kane breaking the record and we win. All right.
I reckon the other one. I'd love the Son to score. I think he might be setting some up, but I think Porro will score.
Oh, Porro. So we got Harry Kane with 2, Porro with 1, and who was the other one?
Perisic.
Okay, I don't see Perisic.
He'll hit it across from Porro.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Hey, maybe. That's why Perisic hasn't scored for us yet. Maybe that's what it is.
Fucking boomers from Royale. You got to put the address on the ball so you can get it back the way he sends him into space. But also in the 65th minute, as well as Porro coming on, Pape Sarr will come on, and he will show why he should be number 1 choice in that place.
He hasn't even been in the 18 the past couple matches, Mr. Sarr.
He'll be back.
I like him though. I like him. He's nice. He's a nice little prospect. But again, real quick before I go any further, ask anyone else their score predictions. My 11, I'm gonna say I do think Emerson starts officially. I'm gonna say that I think Emerson's gonna get the start just because of continuity, if you will. Yeah, you like that one, Kuv? I was looking you dead in the eyes whenever I said that one. I like to think that you inspired me for it, but I think the continuity of just what we've seen in the past is just going to continue. Emerson's going to start. I think it's going to be Romero and Dyer, and coin flip whether it's going to be Longley or Davies. I would say Longley just because. Actually, no, I'm going to say Davies. I want Davies over Longley just because Longley's kind of thick in the hips, if you will. He's got that slow turn with the hips. He can get turned around real easy. We've seen it in the first matchup versus City anyway, so a little concern for him. Perisic, I think, is too slow. He's going to get danced on as well. I think that we saw it. Mahrez just demolished the man. I'm scared about Haaland versus Dyer. But, the midfield, I agree with you, Kuvs. If Højbjerg is healthy, I see him getting the start with of course our main man Bentancur, and I see them two starting. If not, then Bissouma, but maybe Sarr comes off the bench. Alex, we're gonna go reverse panel here. What is your score predictions? How do you see this thing shaking out? Who's scoring the goals for Tottenham?
I don't know who's going to score, but I think we'll get 2-1. We'll win 2-1.
Come on, give me your goal scorers. Yeah, I got to get your goal
scorers. I've got no idea. I've got absolutely no idea.
It's 2 City own goals.
But no, I wouldn't predict who's the scorer. But
Eric Dyer?
No. But yeah, I've just got a feeling that we will sneak it 2-1.
Big up, Q.
No, I think we'll sneak it 2-1. I think because we've got a good record against them at home.
A cheeky Harry Kane in the stoppage time.
Well, I don't know, but I just think that we'll somehow get around it somehow. I think.
Okay.
So that's just me. I think we've got a chance of just getting a 2-1. I think because I think at home. And we've got a point to prove as well. I think the only thing will be the thing that be the decider is how Haaland we try and sort out Haaland. We try and manage Haaland, and that's it really. I think that's the concern. I think for me.
I thought the first time that we played him, we did that decent. It was Mahrez that really destroyed us because Perisic was getting turned around. Do you see that being? I'm afraid Haaland's just gonna. I'm scared of him. He's a young man. I'm scared of him. I'm just mostly because of fucking Eric Dyer. If we had a stallion in the middle next to Romero, I'll be like, fuck you, Haaland, you ain't doing shit. But because we have Dyer and Davies and then Hugo, I don't know what Hugo we're gonna get. Are we gonna get the respectable descending talent aging maestro Hugo, or are we gonna get the clumsy fuckboy that bumbles shit into his own fucking net? That shit pissed me off. I'm in the goalkeepers union and I'm supposed to defend him. I can't defend him anymore. Hugo. Also,
Manchester City will have lots of the ball as well, so it's going to play to our advantage as well, isn't it? So that's another thing as well. That's why I think we got a chance. We got a chance. You know what I mean? But by no means, I don't think we're a great team. No, I don't think we're going to be playing great football. No, you know what I mean. It's not going to change my thoughts on this side. I don't think this side's very good. You know what I mean? So, but for me, I just think that we got a little bit of a chance because I think they played to our strengths. You know what I mean? So, yes, I did say I think Sonny should be on the bench. Yes, I did say that. I did say that. Because I think at the moment, I think we need to be very, very. I think we need to be harsh. You know what I mean? We just have to be harsh. Really, he's not been playing well.
But this is City. He loves playing City. He loves playing City. He loves a good goal against City.
The problem I have at the moment with him is that he's not getting past players at the moment. He just looks like he's whenever he tries to get past somebody, they just keep on getting the ball away from him. You know what I mean? So for me, he's not been playing very well at all. And I think other players should come into play. You know what I mean? get their chance, and that's it, really. You know, but I'm not, you know, at the end of the day, I ain't afraid of Arsenal winning the league. I actually want Arsenal to win the league because I think that will show Tottenham that you need to bloody do something. You need to kick up the arse. That's what
I do not want Arsenal to win the league.
I
I don't
want
give a
Arsenal
shit
to win
what
the league
message
now.
that sends to anybody.
You know what? I don't even care. I don't even care if Arsenal win the league now, to be honest with you, because
That's
I've
crazy.
already got bantered by Leicester fans when they won the FA Cup, which absolutely made me gutted. You know what I mean? I've seen so much now that I just don't care anymore. I don't care. You know what I mean? I can take them on anyway. I can take any fan on anyway because I missed the box office, the main event anyway. I don't really give a damn anyway. You know what I mean? We've been in them for so long now. I don't really care. You know, I actually know what success is now by watching what I saw in the 1960s, like Paul's talking about, bro. Because Paul's talking absolute facts.
Yeah.
We were
He
relevant
texted me. He was like,
then,
"Can I come
bro.
on the show?" I was like, "He's gonna come here and spit facts." So
He's talking facts.
As far as
Big up, Paddy.
Arsenal winning the league, man, I don't give a shit because nothing can compare to the fucking horror. Was it 89 when Michael Thomas scored in the last fucking minute at Liverpool? And I was at school. I was the only Spurs fan. They were all Arsenal gooner bastards. That's why I supported Arsenal. Tottenham. I fucking hated them. And the shit I had to eat for until I left school because of that trauma. Arsenal winning the league now, fuck it, it's nothing. Who cares? Don't care. I only care.
You've seen
No,
Arsenal
that
win at the
upsets
White
me.
Hart Lane as well, bro. You saw
Yeah.
Arsenal win at White Hart Lane as well. I saw it as well.
And I
it's
guess
not
at a
it's not
certain
like
point,
you've not seen anything
there's
bad. It's just that it's the fact that it's bang average at Arteta's their manager doing it. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. Is I look at their squad and I'm not fucking intimidated. I don't, for once, think this is a Premier League winning side. And it's at some point they're gonna get found out. I think it's coming at any moment that their fucking downfall's coming.
Well done to them though. They're a good team. They're a very good team. They weren't very good against us at White Hart at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which I again was there, so I saw it for myself. By the way, but you know, again, it's just like as I said, you know, I'm not, you know, I wasn't too fascinated with them when they were here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but they're a good team and they play very well and they look like they've got a team that have got an identity, which we haven't. You know, and that's it.
But as far as the Man, excuse me, the Man City game goes, they've been in our pocket since 1981. And Pep hates us so much that even when they beat us, he's not fucking happy. We're in his head, and we're in his head because he knows that Conte has fucking figured out his bullshit tick-attacker football style. We can counter it quite easily. And we, you know, in some ways we were unlucky to lose that game. We were lucky to get some goals, but we were unlucky to lose. And I think at White Hart Lane, we've got the number on them since 81. It'll never change. They know it.
Well, I agree with you, Paul. You always come in here spitting facts, but I was like, I want to find reasons to debate you, honestly. But Kuva, I have not gotten your score predictions and your goal scores.
I think Paul's forgetting some almighty batterings we've had on the hands of City over the last 10, 15 years, to be honest. We've been absolutely pulverised many times. I mean, trodden into the ground to the point that the club's gone. It's like you can't see us, like somewhere 6 feet under without the need of a burial. I think those 4 goals they got in the second half against us has really put an end to that little hoodoo we had over them. I think I just don't think they got that. I don't see us as the jinx club now.
But Pep wasn't happy. He wasn't happy.
No, he wasn't happy to go 2-0 down. Of course, who would be? But they did.
He even took a shot at City fans after the game too. They were like,
need more noise, yeah.
And he knows their 4 goals came because we're just so shit at the back. It wasn't like moments of brilliance. It was moments of
Perisic got fucking turned around. Perisic got fucked up that game.
I don't think
Perisic goes against a halfway decent winger.
I don't think it's just at the back though. I think it's just the whole team, bro. I've got to be honest, because you defend as a team, bro. You know what I mean? You know, I do agree with you about the defense. Like I said, you know what I mean. The defense is crap. You know what I mean? You just have to say Eric Dyer, and that's it. And then you're on the, you're getting bantered. You know?
And then Longlay's just not good enough. That's our reinforcements for the back line, but
I just think Mahrez stepped up to show what an incredibly good player he is. We can't live with that level. It's the sad fact. Our players are not good enough to cope with that.
Some of the score. Oh, sorry, Kiva. Were you done?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say. I think we're going to do better because it's a home game, but I think they just got a little bit too much for us. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 City win. They're going to go 2-0 up, but then Porro will come on, cross to the far post, and Danjuma slides in to get
Danjuma. Okay.
Yeah, just because it'll be a weird sort of end to the transfer window, wouldn't it?
Both of our signings,
and then the two new signings score and create. Yeah.
I will read out some of these score predictions before I give mine. Aaron Dubb says jammy 1-0 win versus City with Kane breaking the record. I'll take it. +3 with Kane getting the record. I'm all about it. Mile High Hotspur says 3-2 Spurs win, Kane brace, and a shock Cesc goal. Whoa. Porro 2 assists. Come on, Pedro. Shit, that'd be crazy. If he starts, gets 2 assists. I mean, I'm sure his shirts will be flying off the fucking rack after that if he gets 2 assists in a debut. J. Co says Man City 3, Spurs 2. Sonny with both of them. Sonny with the brace. I love to see it. Unfortunately, we lose, it looks like. Jack Kanicki, big up Jack K. Says very high chance of Moonhead and Lloris Clangers. Spurs win 4-0. Very nice. That's a very nice prediction. Jack also says Sessegnon will get torched too. He has lost that defense. Sessegnon has lost every edge. There's no edge. He's a circular plumbus. And that's a reference to Rick and Morty. If you know what a plumbus is, he's a very round plumbus. He's done. He's done. I never want to see him in a Tottenham shirt again because honestly, he had so much space, so much time that he just awful in every facet of the game. Like physically, you can run around, but that's about it. He's the same level as Emerson, in my opinion. Him and Emerson. I can't fucking tell the difference when they're out there playing because they're both so bad. Tricky one. Big up.
Those guys in Denver, they've got the good stuff, man. Having the imagination to see Sess scoring a goal, man. I want some, whatever it is.
Hey, it's been legal there for quite some time, so maybe that leads to the wackiness. Patty Harden at 4-0 City. That's no fun, Mr. Patty. That's not a fun prediction. Got
to point out what Jack Kanicki's just done. It's like one of my old predictions. Give plenty of reasons why we're going to get smashed, and then say we win it 4-0.
Yeah.
But see, I like that. If I was a betting man, if I was allowed to bet, I would bet that City's going to win. I would always bet against Tottenham because then when we do win, it's like, well, we won, and then when we lose, it's like, well, I won some money. So.
It's George Best when he retired and he went onto the TV as a panelist quite a few times. And quite often when they did their predictions, he would give all these reasons why a team is going to smash another and then just go for the one he said was going to get smashed. And they said, why do you do that? And he just goes, Irish logic. Because, that's football. Sometimes you just can't predict it and you get crazy results you never saw coming. So never rule anything out.
That's what I'm saying. My prediction, I think it's going to be the same score, but reverse. We're going to win 4-2. We're going to go down 2-0 at half like normal, like we did. It's going to be everything but just flip it and reverse it Missy Elliott style. That's my prediction. Kane's going to break the record. Porro's going to get on the assist sheet. Sonny's going to score 2. Kane's going to score 2. And we're going to win 4-2. That's my prediction. Or Son 1, Kulu 1. I think Kulu's going to get a lot of space opened up for him if we do get to play Pedro next to him. I think Pedro's naturally going to open up a lot of space for Son, Kane, just because once teams get the fact that this man's, by all intents and purposes, he's going to come good. When he does do that and teams have to game plan for him, that's naturally going to open up space for Kane and Son. So I'm excited for that. I think we'll get a nice display of our powers. I I don't see Danjuma scoring. I do see him maybe being like an 87th minute sub or a 90th minute sub. But I do see a 4-2. I see Kane. He wants to break that record at home. There's a reason his ass was sitting down at Preston. And it wasn't because he was ill. That's just what they wanted you to believe. Because he didn't want to break the record at Preston. Who wants to break the record at Preston? He wants to break the record at home.
You're changing my mind, mate. Yeah, it's got to happen, hasn't it?
It's gotta happen. It's gotta fucking happen.
And I've suddenly also got excited about the idea of Porro linking up with Kulusevski down the right.
Yeah.
Gotta be good, eh?
Think about he's like Kulu's gonna have some faith in the guy next to him. The guy next to him is gonna have some talent. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna change our offense. We'll be high flying, and then we're gonna fly high because we're gonna have some lesser opponents, if you will, in the future. And then. That's what I'm saying. This season, anything could happen at this point. I'm not saying the treble is on, but I'm just saying watch out on Sunday, because come Sunday, I think we're going to see something nice, especially if Pedro starts. So that's my vote.
The plans will work out pretty quickly, I reckon, that where they can be on the pitch within Pedro's range as opposed to Emerson's range. Either could be nearby or in certain places. As soon as they get and trust that Porro can deliver the ball in different areas, it will. I think it will open up so much. And what my hope for this and the rest of the season is that our defence is shit, but I really think that this could. Well, it excites me. It not only does it open up Kulu, but it might open up the opposite side of the pitch as well. And who knows.
Exactly. That's what I attributed a lot of Kulu's initial success with us when he first joined, because teams weren't really planning or thinking about him. It was stop Son, stop Kane, we can stop Spurs. Kulusevski came in, added another dimension. Now teams are kind of planning for that. So naturally, when you get another player out there, it's going to draw some attention. But Kuva, Alex, Paul, Bob Spur, Sean, big ups everyone who's joined in the chat. I just want to say thank you, Kuva. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Paul. You're still here with me, still rocking. And I'm going to wrap this thing up. I got my wife calling me for dinner, so I do unfortunately have to wrap this thing up a little bit. But is there any final thoughts anyone wants to share before we say goodbye, good night, and tuck ourselves in?
Well, as I always say, as I always close with everything, you know what time it is, because you know where it comes every single time. The one, the only, Alex THFC, Mr. Box Office. And if you didn't know, get to know. Get to know. And that's it.
That's
what I mean?
That's
because
a
you
good
know
final
what time
thought,
it is when Alex is on the mic, and it's Box Office time, and that's it. And
I
need
to pull up your.
I've
when
got
is the
another
next time
segment
people can
coming
look at
soon.
your
Another
your
segment
channel?
coming, new stuff coming, because like I said, I had to refresh myself, reset myself, and release a different side of me. And there'll be some new episodes on my channel, which I'm working on at the moment. Not reactionary, but things about Tottenham. And it might be top 5, and that's it. And that's all I'll say. And I'll bet you back to Jacob to say something stupid.
Oh, gotta love it. Thank you for making your debut as well. So go check out Alex at Alex THFC. Paul, you got any final thoughts for us, brother?
All right, so I see where my high Hotspur is coming from there. He's replaced my Perisic header with a Cess header from a possibly Porro cross. Okay, I get you, man. Yeah, my third eye is opened, my friend. No, nothing more to say apart from come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. What a good final thought. Kuva, any Kuva and the King this weekend?
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend?
No. Bobby's had some personal stuff going on. So we'll be on In the Wall, Bob Spur TV tomorrow night.
That's right. Bob Spur, Kuva, In the Wall,
hopefully we got enough for it, because there's a lot of people can't make it from what I've seen. So
really?
Yeah. We'll just have to see how it goes. But,
I've been wondering, because I see there's Bob will promote it, and then I'm looking for it the day of, and there's no nothing, and I'm texting Ben. I'm like, hey man, what's going on within the wall? Is it happening this week? But we'll big up. Look for Bob Spur. He was here earlier. Bob Spur TV. You can always find him there every Saturday. I
don't think Bob would mind me saying that. Quite often he struggles with tiredness and getting back into the work routine after. The events of last year and everything. takes its toll. So sometimes it's just not up to it.
No, it's totally understandable, and it's late for you guys as well. It's just a perfect time. Bob picked the perfect time for me, and maybe some other Americans. I'm just like, it's right before, it's that money spot right before dinner gets started. You can just kind of tune in and listen. So I do enjoy it. Big up Bobby K. Hope you're well. Definitely check out Kuva there, or if you're just on Spurs YouTube, you can usually find Kuva floating around somewhere. He's like a nice butterfly that blesses all the flowers with pollen, and it's so nice that you've blessed us again 2 weeks in a row. Thank you so much, Kuva. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You've been tremendous as well. Please do hit that like if you haven't. I forgot. I need to end the poll real quick. C Cubed asked what I said her vote was in the poll, and I said, "Do you know who I am?" That's what I'm voting. That would have been my vote anyway. For Thoughts versus City, I'm going to end the poll, and let's see what the winner is losing no matter what, because Dyer, etc. It was the winner with 38% votes. Do you know who I am? So the polar opposite with 29%, just coming in second place. Third place, tight match. Crowd is the X factor and a draw. And 6% said Holland will be Dyer's caregiver. So I thought that was kind of nice, a little nice addition that I threw in there. But anyway, big ups. Thank you for participating in that poll. Thank you as well to all the names that have been scrolling down below on the Patreon. Again, the Patreon is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description if you were so interested in doing that. But if not, free 99. You can just hit like, hit subscribe, share. We just hit 600 subs. So that's pretty exciting times. Big ups to the channel. Love you, Michael. Don't know if you're watching, but big up yourself. Sorry we missed you this week. Look forward to having you again next week. And for everyone here, United Spurs of America, come on, you Spurs.
Levi.
There you go. Coys.
United Spurs of America with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.